Right, good day. What is up, everybody? So, I would like to talk to you today about all the assistive technologies we have these days. To me, I don't know. It feels like AI is being pushed way too quickly. I'm not 100% against it, but I am against it being implemented and pushed for general consumer use, as well as students, classrooms, things like that, right at this moment. Um, Part of the reason is, well, we see so many students becoming reliant on it already, and oftentimes it's still inaccurate. It's not even teaching them the right stuff. It's not giving them the right information. It's not, sometimes, yeah, sometimes, yeah, cool. It's giving them the right info, but a lot of times it's not. But students are basically trusting these things and relying on them. And for me personally, I'm worried that their cognitive reasoning skills, their sort of work ethic, everything will decline because, hey, instead of actually figuring something out, let's just ask AI. So that's one part. The other part is obviously the environmental impact. AI is extremely computationally intensive, and that uses electricity. Plus, with AI being pushed everywhere, we still have, chips being made for it, specifically designed for it. So we have that sort of emissions and resource consumption on that side as well. So it's not just that it's consuming way more electricity than doing some research on Google and Stack Overflow, but it's also resources going towards chip manufacturing. And then, if you are running your AI locally on your own machine, one could argue that, okay, you can control where the electricity is coming from. Maybe you've got solar, and whatever your computer is consuming is sustainable. However, cloud-based AI, which is what most consumers are using these days, very, very much not the case. You don't know where they're getting the electricity from. Some of these servers are submerged in water, undersea, contributing to warming of oceans, disruption of ecosystems. Others are just consuming a crap ton off of the grid to keep the servers cool and everything else. So there's those aspects. And then you have the privacy aspect. So many people are talking about the privacy aspect these days. So many more companies are pushing, things to, you have to have an account with them, you have to register products with them, X, Y, and Z. In the past, they would kind of motivate you to register a product with them by giving you an extra year or two on the warranty, or something like that. But you could still use the product, no problem. And those of you who watch Louis Rosman's channel would know that recently some companies have started actually essentially data like blocking. If you don't give them your personal data, you can't use the product that you paid for. Reading some of those license agreements, it's scary. It's dystopian in the sense that you have paid for this product, and oftentimes it's a premium product. It's not just some cheap one off a shelf somewhere. It's some of the most expensive ones, of their kinds, and you still cannot use it without putting an app on your phone and registering it with your personal data. So I want to say something, okay? And it's not just me, but it's also a bit controversial. But I'm telling you now, if the general human population just keeps giving in to these large companies and saying, oh, yes, no, sure, I'll download an app, register it so I can use this, 6,000-7,000 Rand camera that I just bought. If they keep on just giving in to these companies' demands, things are only going to get worse and worse and worse. If parents allow their children to use AI to do their homework, or effectively, help them with their homework, instead of actually trying to figure it out themselves and doing it like the old-fashioned way, the way we are sort of developed to do, then I'm telling you now, humanity is going to become stupid. I think we're already there to some extent. Maths and science worldwide has tanked. I'm a maths teacher, and I could not deal with mainstream anymore. I quit after 5 or so years. I'm still in education, but very much not mainstream. It's scary. It really is scary. Think if you're watching this and you're like 35 or older, round about there. Think back to when your teacher said you won't always have a calculator in your pocket. And now you're like, haha, joke's on you. We've got computers in our pocket, let alone calculators. Well, the joke's actually not on those teachers, because how many of you struggle to add basic fractions together? How many of you actually understand what is taking place when you get a lowest common denominator? Or are you just following an algorithm? Is that just what you've been taught and that's how you add them together? Or do you actually physically understand what's happening in terms of quantities and sizes? So we now have that issue, but on a much, much larger scale. I want to say you won't always have an AI in your pocket, but it's too late. There literally is AI in people's pockets these days. One of my students, I just had a meeting with him, and he showed me, he asked ChatGPT to just give him all the information that ChatGPT knows about him, and it was scary. ChatGPT learned a crap ton about this student of mine, and the thing is, that all that information is on the cloud. Okay, it's on the cloud. It's on someone's server, and yeah, you could argue that there are data privacy laws. But hacks happen. Malicious actors do hack into databases, break in, steal stuff. Corporations have been fined millions and millions in the past because of they've sold data when they weren't supposed to, or they didn't quite disclose stuff to their staff. These corporations try and find loopholes. They word their agreements in legal foo, so that it's difficult to understand. Most people do not read these agreements. They just say, look, I need this to work now. Let's click next and we move on. Those cameras, as an example, if you've purchased that camera and you've taken it on holiday and you switch it on for the first time and you realize, oh gosh, I need to register it now in order to use the camera, you're thinking to yourself, I'm about to go down this ski slope, or I'm about to surf this wave, or I'm about to, go up this dune in this Land Rover. You're not going to say, oh, well, screw it, I'm just not going to film the damn holiday. You're going to give in, and you're going to be like, let me just quickly register it and move on with my life. More and more companies, as Louis Rosman points out, are also doing other things. They're updating firmware and software on devices that you've had for years that make them now unusable. Games, live services get shut down, and the publishers don't release a community server that the community can carry on keeping the game alive. They just don't do that stuff anymore. They're like, we're done maintaining this. Screw you. You will buy the new thing. And by the way, you won't own that new thing. You will have to give us your personal information, register an account with us in order to use it. And then when we feel like it, we can revoke that license whenever we feel like it. That's the kind of dystopia we live in right now. And unfortunately, the more and more kids and young people use AI and become more reliant on AI, the less and less their critical thinking skills and problem-solving skills are going to be. Eventually, they are going to be so dependent on these tools that whoever controls these tools will have absolute control. They would be able to push subtle details, subtle misinformation here, maybe change a word up here and there in a chatbot's replies, just to sort of mess with people's minds. And the less critically you think, the more closed-minded you are, the more easily it is to, the easier it is to control you. That is what I'm saying. So me personally, I love computers. I run Linux full time. I'm quite a geek. I love technology. I think it's awesome. AI itself even is awesome in some cases. Medical research, food production, stuff like that. It's got so many benefits, but it is being pushed way too fast onto the general consumer, and people just don't realize what the risks are and what these companies' intentions are. I'm telling you now, most large corporations, their only intent is to make money for them and their shareholders. They don't actually care about you as a consumer. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk to you guys about. Thanks for joining me. If you found this entertaining or informative or whatevs, hit the like button, comment below, hit the dislike button. I don't care. Go for it. Engage a little bit in the comments. Have a discussion. Keep it clean. Keep it civil. But my prediction is that in the next even 5 to 10 years, we are going to see a very, very rapid decline in reading comprehension, listening comprehension, critical thinking skills, logical reasoning, problem-solving skills. We are going to see a very, very rapid decline. Employers who still need actual human beings are going to be struggling to employ people that can think for themselves and can actually solve problems. That being said, they'll have no problem employing people who just, will follow orders, and who they can manipulate and abuse and overwork. But free thinkers, unfortunately, the system currently just doesn't like they don't like free thinkers. So that's it. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Take it easy. Bye.